Yeah. All right. Well, the show we are going to talk about this week is Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is now 3 episodes into its run.
Yeah.
And Brett, so what are you thinking so far? You've watched all three. What
Yeah.
what is the overall? Is it a thumbs up, thumbs in the middle, thumbs down so far?
Yeah. I'll give you some general thoughts.
Yeah.
I 2 thumbs up. I
Okay.
am absolutely loving it. Um, it is so awesome to see Ewan McGregor back in the role. He brings like a certain gravitas to Star Wars, and
He does.
he really does. And I absolutely love it. I love the way the show looks. I love the tone. It is quite dark.
Yeah.
Especially after episode 3, we'll get into some of the details, but I was like, whoa, there was some really wild stuff in there. And
When the stormtrooper falls off a roof and just gets cut in half by a laser gate,
I'm not
I
even
mean,
talking about that. I think we'll
I
save
know,
it when we
but
talk
just
about episode 3. But that was awesome.
yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, in general, I'm loving the show. So far with these like Star Wars shows, obviously Mandalorian has been my favorite. I loved season 1 of The Mandalorian. I love season 2 as well, but that definitely like had a different feel than season 1. Obi-Wan feels more like season 1 of The Mandalorian to me.
Mm.
And Boba Fett, I was like, I think I had stated like I wasn't. While I
It took a
enjoyed
little
it,
while.
I was not wild about it. It was a little meh for
Yeah.
me. My favorite episodes were the 2 where they totally left the whole Boba Fett story and just did 2 Mandalorian episodes, which that's not a
Yeah.
good thing for your show that's called Boba Fett. And the finale had its moments. There was some cool stuff with
Yeah.
the him. He wrote a fucking Rancor that was rad. But other than that series was kind of weird for me. So this
Yeah.
is really tremendous. It also gives me very much like Rogue One vibes.
Hmm.
And the way the show looks too, like just like the coloring and the
Yeah.
hue. I don't know if you like noticed like some of like I think like Rogue One and Solo, a Star Wars story, and now especially Obi-Wan have this similar like visual aesthetic to it. Which I even think is still a little different than even how the Mandalorian looks
Mm.
subtly. At least to me, it could just be in my head.
Yeah.
But they seem to have some kind of like unified look to them, and I
Yeah.
love the pacing of this. I know some people have been saying it's like kind of like slow, but like he's again one of those things like with Moon Knight. I did not love that show, but I could just watch Oscar Isaac act for hours and hours, and
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Ewan
Similar
McGregor, like
thing.
you give
Yeah.
me all the
Just give
slow
me time
panning
with
things,
him. Yeah.
and just give me time looking at his face because he's just like he's got a lot to work with, and he's given it all. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I really love what I've seen so far. But yeah, what are your kind of like general thoughts? And then maybe we can start picking into some of the episodes.
Sure, sure. Well, actually, since you're talking McGregor specifically right now,
Yeah,
I wanted to say something because, like, I love his acting, and I'm loving seeing him back. And it's such a trip to see him back in this role after all these years. And he's kind of around the age he should be,
yeah,
considering it's been 10 years since the prequels and whatever. But one thing that I don't think McGregor has in him is that ability to seem like a badass action hero type. And to me, like in a couple of the scenes where we see him like clearing a room of enemies, there's something about it that to me feels a little bit like he doesn't pull off that I'm a badass action star type of guy. Like even like Mandalorian, like I know it's not necessarily Pedro Pascal as a person in a helmet, whatever. Stunt performers like Mando looks like a badass, and the way he
right.
moves, like there's just something about it. McGregor seems a little like I don't know what it is. I don't want to. This is a terrible comparison, and we're speaking positively about the show, but there's something about his movements when he's doing the action scenes that almost reminds me of like Iron Fist with that guy who didn't really learn any martial arts but had to play a martial artist, and you could
Sure.
tell they taught him just enough to get through those scenes. Sometimes McGregor kind of get the sense to it like he doesn't look like he could convincingly beat anyone up, but here he is clearing 6 or 7 guys at a time. That's my one thing that
Well,
he doesn't
I
have
will
that action
say
hero thing.
I can get that, but I will say like number one, I don't think Obi-Wan is that guy. Number
Mm,
two, especially in episode 3 when we see him kind of go up against Vader. This is a
Yeah.
dude who's been alone as a hermit on the desert for 10 years and is
Yeah.
almost like partially severed from the Force at this point. So I
Yeah.
really think like the rusty look could be, he's a little sloppy. He takes a couple of hits, he takes some shots.
It's true. It's
He's
true.
smart, he's witty,
Yeah.
and that's how he gets out of some of these situations. He's
Yeah.
resourceful, maybe that's the word for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I will give it
I
that.
got you. I'll
But
take it.
at the same time, well, finish your thoughts because then I'll kind of maybe
Yeah.
like link it back because there's something a little weird about some movement stuff in the show.
Oh
But
yeah, all right. I want to hear your
yeah,
thoughts on that. But yeah,
yeah,
so something else I'm loving right now too is like getting to spend time in certain locales that we've only ever really heard of or glimpsed in the past. Like getting to spend some real time on Alderaan, who for
yeah,
the longest time Alderaan was just this planet that exploded in Episode 4, and
right,
then in the prequels, we get a little bit of time to kind of get to know Bail Organa and Jimmy Smits, who, by the way, I'm so glad he got the call back to play
yeah,
Bail Organa again, because he's someone who, like, by the way, when he was first coming up as an actor, he acted on my family theater stage here in New York. He was like, so
Oh
I
wow,
feel a certain kinship to Jimmy. He's like a cousin, a distant older cousin. So knowing that he got that call, and not only did he get to reprise him in Rogue One for a quick moment, but now he gets to play him on this Disney Plus series. I'm like, go get him, Jimmy.
yeah,
But yeah, so like getting to spend time on Alderaan and seeing what that place is like. I love just kind of having further time or further opportunities to explore these characters and these settings we've only ever just heard of, right? And then this surprise to all this stuff with Leia. I didn't know from the trailers
yeah.
that Leia was going to factor in so huge on the story. And I'm loving that. And
That
one of
was
the
a cool
main things,
surprise. They didn't talk about
yeah,
that at all. I didn't even see
they
rumors about
totally,
it. And I
yeah,
was like, "Oh wow, that was like that's the thing I love. I love being surprised when I don't have to like see so much shit spoiled on the internet. It's just really
yeah.
nice. You get those
Yeah,
moments.
and then the thing for me though is it's funny because I saw people write about it. And I think I sent you one of the columns on this, but I felt
Yeah.
it myself just watching Episode 1, which is when she gets kidnapped, and then Obi-Wan now is put on the given the task of trying to find her and keeping a low profile because no one can really know why she's so special and all that. It
Mm-hmm.
dawned on me. I'm like, this is where Leia and Obi-Wan establish some kind of bond and relationship. This
Yes.
is going to add depth to Episode 4. That little holographic message that's stuck in the R2, though the thing that begins the entire journey, the very first Star Wars movie that came out happened because R2 transmitted a message from Leia to Obi-Wan. And in that, there was always like a familiarity with the way she spoke of him, as if she knew that this man could help me. This
Yeah.
man on the outskirts of the universe has enough in him to help me with this terrible crisis. But we never really knew why, right? It's
Yeah.
never been shown in a movie why Leia would know Obi-Wan from a hole in the wall. And now this story is going to clearly build on that, and now we know why Leia, when the chips are down, we're in crisis, she thinks of, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our only hope." And I'm like, oh, I just got goosebumps on the back of my head thinking about
Yeah.
that. So yes, I'm loving it so far. I'm big thumbs up. I have a couple of things here and there I'm a little on, but overall, this has been a worthwhile story to tell, and I'm
Sure.
so glad to see Kenobi back. So now, with Episode 1 in particular, were there any notes, anything that popped out at you that you wanted to talk about?
Um, in particular, I really like, again, I'll go back to kind of like how dark this show is, and I like that they went there and really showing like how much Obi-Wan has changed after the
Mhm.
events of Revenge of the Sith. I mean, I think it's one of the Safdie brothers actually is like that Jedi that's like running away from the Inquisitors and approaches Obi-Wan and says like, you need to like help, and he's just like, I'm not that guy anymore, man, and like
Yeah.
straight up, and then like sees him dead hanging from like a freaking sign in the town the next day.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, like the Obi-Wan I knew would never let that happen, and this guy is like he's really off the path.
Even in
Also, I
episode
mean,
3, we'll get to that,
yeah,
but yeah.
yeah, even in episode 3. Then you had that was a great moment. I love that he's just kind of doing this like mundane like job. He's like a butcher basically, or he's just like
Yeah.
carving out but being a butcher. And the other part I thought that was pretty neat. What was it? It was totally lost my train of thought. That was super cool that I loved about it. Oh,
Was
the
it
Owen,
Uncle
the
Owen?
whole yeah,
I was
Uncle
about to
Owen.
say
Like
Uncle Owen. Yeah.
Uncle Owen. That conversation was so great.
Won't
And
you train
the
his
whole
father?
yeah, he's like and I love Ewan's voice too. He's like, when the boy comes of age, he must be trained. And he's like you trained his father. And I was like, oh, you're such a dick, Owen, but
But
you're
it's
right.
funny though, because
Kind
if you go like Uncle Owen has like 1 or 2 scenes in episode 4, and he always comes off as like cantankerous and rough around the edges. He's going to tell you what
yeah.
he really thinks. So I love that Joel Edgerton now actually gets to play that Owen.
Yeah, like yeah, I'm like, oh, I totally get why he's that guy. And then
Yeah.
they had that they've been so good. Deborah Chow, I think, has been directing every episode, and like, wow, yeah,
Mhm.
give her the reins, man. She knows what she's doing. Like that tension when the Inquisitors are there and she's in Owen's face and is just like, someone tell me where the Jedi is, or I'm just gonna kill this dude and his whole family. Like I was like, whoa.
And that still doesn't get Obi-Wan out of the shadows. It's
Yeah, and
crazy.
he still doesn't
Yeah.
go out. Yeah, I mean,
He's
they did
that
some
scared.
really amazing characterization in that first episode. Did you have
Yeah.
anything for the first episode before we talk about the second one?
Well, the only thing is we're talking about the Inquisitors. I'm not I'm not fully sold on the third sister. I feel like there's something about like her design or her performance. I'm not really sure. Like it's not coming together for me. You look at the 3 Inquisitors, right? You have Rupert Friend, who looks like this crazy, like pinhead without the pins, alien
Yeah.
creature. Then you've got like the Asian guy who's got this crazy, like helmet and alien looking skin face, and his voice is all
Uh-huh.
augmented. And then you just have this chick in black with like regular hair just talking. Like, like everyone around her looks alien and somehow super stylized and scary and Sith like. And for her to, I feel like her design is it's just some lady talking to me. I don't know.
Well,
Something about like
yeah.
her stuff is not really landing for me. If she's supposed to be imposing or scary or something, I'm not getting it yet. So I don't know. Or maybe
Right.
that's not what she's supposed to be. Maybe they're setting her up to be a sympathetic figure. There was that interesting moment in episode 3 where she sees a thing on the wall of that underground
It's the
railroad.
Jedi logo, their emblem.
Yeah. But she seems like moved by it. It makes me wonder, are we going to
Yeah.
find out that she's like Mace Windu's like daughter or something? So maybe she's a hero. I don't know. But if
Yeah.
she's
So I have
supposed to
a
be
theory
like a
about that.
villain, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a couple of things. So because there's actually been a lot of discourse around her online. Unfortunately, a lot
Oh,
of
I
it
know people are
shitty.
being dicks. Yeah,
Just
I'm not.
being really shitty.
Yeah.
And I can understand if it's not clicking for you. So for me, a couple of quick things. So Jedi Fallen Order, that game that came out a few years
Mhm.
ago, that takes place around this time period, has
Yeah.
the second sister, and she's like the main bad guy, and she actually
Okay.
is just like I mean, the way the character is portrayed is just like a female, a human female of like Indian descent. So it
Okay.
doesn't bother me that Riva is just like
It's
some
just like a
regular
person.
person.
Okay.
Yeah, because like they have that's in the ranks.
Gotcha.
Also, I think I think Rupert Friend, like I think he just looks stupid with his weird German Hitler pants. And actually, so for me, I think he looks stupider than everybody, my opinion. So that's number one. Number two, then in the first 2 episodes, Riva had a total of like 5 minutes and 50 seconds of screen time, and everyone's bitching and moaning about her characterization. I'm like, she's been on screen for 5 minutes. Calm the hell down. Then episode 3, great point. I was going to bring that up. When she does go into the tunnel and sees
Yeah.
the Jedi emblem, there is something there. And now I
Yeah.
want to
There's
take you back
something
to the
going on.
opening of the first episode when there were a bunch of children
Oh, the
escaping Order
youngling.
66. And there was
Yeah.
a little black girl there. So I have a very strong feeling that she was probably, and they mentioned too something that like a lot of the Jedi younglings went missing and were never seen again and something like that. So I find it very possible that she did end up getting caught and then was brought into the fold to become an Inquisitor, become a Sith, and then eventually work her way up to an Inquisitor. She's incredibly ambitious. The thing though that's kind of annoying is, and you mentioned, I have a feeling they are going to set her up for a redemption arc. And I'm just so sick of seeing that. Like, we had the Vader redemption arc. We did it with Kylo Ren again, which I really hated that they did a redemption arc for him too. I wish they just kept him evil, because I didn't feel like it was even earned by the end of that new trilogy. And it just kind of played out, that thing. So I kind of hope it looks like they're going to probably go that direction, but I hope they do like a little twist and it doesn't happen. But yeah, so I don't know. In the third episode, I thought she showed a lot better. Again, I didn't have a problem with her in the first 2 episodes, but I think, and maybe, I don't know if you agree with me, in the third episode, she was definitely a little more of a presence. And I'll say that she was more of a presence and more of her motivation. And I think it's cool to have like someone in there in the ranks there that she's like, well, even in the second episode, right? She killed the freaking Grand Inquisitor, possibly. We don't know that for sure, 100%. But yeah, I think that's kind of cool that she's like really going it because she wants to impress Vader. I don't have a problem with the character. So
yeah, did you notice that Allie Alston from Superman and Lois is also in this show now? She was in there as one of these alien-looking Inquisitor types in the third episode.
Oh, is she the other female alien with the weird things?
Yeah,
that is her. I thought she looked familiar. That's so funny.
I could be wrong, but the face looks exactly like her. I'm almost positive that's her.
Quite possible.
And again, to me, like, she was another one. All the people in this little league of people who are hunting Kenobi are some kind of heightened alien form. And then there's just Reva. I think this was my one thing. She stands out for being just so plainly a human lady who I could see at the store on the corner. But anyway, I digress. Episode 2, I don't remember much specifically about it. I just remember that's where finally now Obi-Wan, he goes and he makes the rescue, and we kind of get to see Obi-Wan out on assignment doing his thing and being.
Yeah, we're in Dayo, which is kind of like a Blade Runner-y looking. It kind of looks like the shady parts of Coruscant.
Yeah,
I freaking.
Well, to me, it looked almost
or the Swapsy.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, honestly, but
it's Coruscant
to me. Let's go with that. But to me, it was almost too much like Blade Runner. It was almost like, all right, we get it. You going for that kind of style. Like, okay.
I'm a sucker for that look. So, but I get it. It was a little too close. But
yeah, it looked like Star Wars doing their version of Blade Runner. Like, all right, fine, with the flying cars and the noir looking streets. And I get it. I'll accept it.
Kumail Nanjiani as the Jedi con man was actually really, really good. I loved it. I loved it. It was good. Yeah. We should also talk about randomly. I was like, is that fucking Flea? It's Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Shows up and he kidnaps Leia.
Leia.
And he gets Obi-Wan, and then Obi-Wan meths him. He just throws Star Wars meth at him and he escapes. It was awesome.
And it's like, Flea's funny because, like, not only is he in now the Back to the Future trilogy, one of my all-time favorite things ever, but now he also is in the Star Wars galaxy. So who knew?
He gets around.
Flea's been around.
Yeah.
Speaking of
he
which,
unfortunately met a poor end. Things did not go well for him at the end. He got drugged, and then he just got like helicopter bladed by a lightsaber. His face went off.
That's what happens.
It is what it is.
Kidnap Leia. It's what you deserve. But also something, just a subtle thing. I love that before the first episode, first of all, unlike all the other shows, it's the only one that opens with a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah. Because this is the first one that's like really connected to movie character. Mando really, obviously he was original. And then even Boba Fett, that was its own, they were going a unique way with it. But this one gets the legit a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And then it recaps the entire prequel trilogy showing like the core arc of Obi-Wan and Anakin. I
Which
think
was
it's
like, by
really
the way,
cool.
that was beautiful. That was done really well,
Yeah,
and it hit all the important beats, and
yeah.
it gave me the friggin' feels, man.
It set you up perfectly, and it's like it made me think about even like when Peacemaker debuted. In the very first episode, it says previously on the Suicide Squad. Because
Yeah,
again, what is the lead into Peacemaker? It's not another season of Peacemaker.
right.
It's this movie. And what
Sure.
is the lead into Kenobi? It's not anything else anyone's seen. It's episodes 1, 2, and 3. So I just love the idea of for all these movie spin-off TV shows to have a previously on that includes the movie. I just think that's kind of like a new novel way of telling these stories. And when I was having that conversation with someone about how like they should give Kenobi a chance and so on and so forth, they mentioned like, oh, but I haven't seen the prequels in forever. I'm like, don't worry. They recap
Yeah,
everything you need to really know about that relationship gets recapped in the first like 90 seconds. So you don't
right.
even need it. So I just wanted to point that I love that. I
Sure.
love hearing John Williams' music in there. He
Yep.
made an original theme for Obi-Wan, and they've also, since this is set firmly in like the Kenobi / Skywalker verse, I feel like they've been a little looser when it comes to incorporating music motifs from the original trilogy. The
Sure.
newer movies don't, the newer TV shows don't do any of that because they're supposed, they're covering new ground. But
Right.
since we're in Kenobi, there have been some great little standout moments of like you get to hear some of that original trilogy music, and I'm all
Yeah.
about that. I'm also all about getting to see Anakin again, seeing Hayden Christensen back in this role. When they showed his crazy looking face right before the credits rolled in episode 2, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I couldn't wait for episode 3 to finally come out. And
Yep.
then episode
They
3
showed him getting
arrives.
assembled, the arm coming on and like
Yeah.
all that, getting suited up. It was really, really rad.
That was rad. And then even like when Obi-Wan looks and he thinks he sees him in the distance, and it's not Darth Vader, it's just Anakin as he remembers him in a dark cloak.
Dude,
I got
chills right
chills.
now.
I'm like,
Chills.
yeah. I'm like, that was
The hairs on my arm are
incredible.
standing right now.
Yep.
That was. Oh, I mean, we should talk real quick too. Like while we're getting into the Anakin Darth Vader stuff, I want to talk about all
Yeah.
that. But in the end of the second episode, when Reva reveals to him that Anakin survived,
He's
it
so
hadn't even
alive.
dawned on me that he
That he
thought
didn't
he
know.
was fucking dead this entire time for like the past
Oh.
what is it, 10 years? Is it that long?
Yeah.
He
It's
didn't
been 10
even
years. Yeah.
know. It's been 10 years.
He thought he
And
died on Mustafar.
they had this friggin' just close up on his face, and Ewan McGregor
You
just
saw it
acted the
sink in.
shit out of it. And I was
Yep.
like, oh, I felt all of that. That was really, really well done. So then,
And then
then we get into episode. Oh, yeah, if you want to comment on that.
No, I was just gonna say, and like even like, piggybacking onto that, the tension and the fear is palpable in episode 3 when he senses him. Remember that moment where like they open up the underground railroad tunnel, they're gonna
Yeah.
escape, and all of a sudden he gets like dizzy and woozy. He feels this crazy like disturbance, and mind you, like you said, he's been a little cut off from the Force. He's trying to like distance himself from the Jedi Order and all that stuff. But this breaks through all that, and he almost like can't stay on his feet. And then when he's looking through the door and seeing him down the corridor, you could feel the sweat and the fear on Obi-Wan,
Yeah.
realizing like, whoa, there he is. And while I've spent 10 years hiding and letting my skills get rusty, and I've been just trying to forget all that, he's been completely basking in his hatred and just getting stronger and stronger in the ways of the dark side. So he also knows too, like, I can't mess with this form of energy.
Yeah.
And when they later on have the fight, it's clear that Anakin has just been getting stronger every day these last 10 years, while Obi-Wan he's not that guy anymore. And he's a far cry from that guy.
So let's talk about
awesome.
let's talk about episode 3 when Vader shows up. Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan is looking at him through the little slits in the door. He sees him, and the people, he's just throwing things around, throwing things out to clear ways and see it. That one guy comes. Dude, the one guy comes out of the house, he holds him up and like just chokes him out. Just straight up chokes him out and kills him. And it looks like it's like his son comes out. And dude, when that happened, I went like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like he should have
Yeah.
just went and snapped the kid's neck. It was like a teenager, man. He just snapped his neck.
Brutal.
I was like, whoa, this is what they're. Oh my, oh, it's this Vader. Like
We're dragging
getting
an old lady or something too,
yeah,
right?
he
Like
was
there was
dragging
like
a
woman
lady across
came
the
out.
floor. I was like, whoa, they're not messing around. So then, yeah, we finally have them meet, and there's this one. So there's a moment. I don't know if I'm hearing things. I listened to it like 50 times today, but for me in my head canon, I'm gonna go with this because
What have
it
you
made me
become?
feel all kinds of things. So when he says, "What have you become?" he comes back with, "I am what you made me." Now, I don't know if it was in my head initially when I first watched it, and then like I said, I listened like 20 times today before this podcast. But when he first says "I am," I could swear you hear a little bit of Hayden Christensen's voice on the "I am" before
Yeah.
it clicks fully into the Vader voice. And for
Mm.
me, it gave me chills because for me, it was almost like
Yes.
he
Yes.
mustered everything he had to speak that without the stupid machine and the voice changer and like get that out. And I don't know, like I listened to it a million times today, but there's something with the intonation there. And I'm like, I was actually talking to SMB Ryan on Twitter. He's like one of the friends of Batman on Film.
Yeah.
I think it's Ryan Haas.
You know,
Is his name.
SMB is Super Mario Brothers, by the way. He
Yes.
loves the original.
I know
movie.
he's a big Mario Brothers movie fan.
Yeah.
So he had mentioned, he put that line on there, and then I commented. I said, I don't know if I'm crazy, but I heard that, and he was like, "Yeah, there's definitely something vulnerable in his voice there." And he's like,
And
"I
I heard
really
it.
want to see the behind the
Yeah.
scenes." And yeah, I mean, go back and listen to that one part when he says, "I am." You actually hear the Anakin's true voice. And then it clicks back into the robot thing. And for that, like, I just felt so many emotions. I was like, oh my God, like that was him, like giving everything to just like talk out of this stupid machine that he's become. And it really was like, for me, it was like a really emotional moment. And, I mean, like the whole time he's one-handing Obi-Wan. If you notice, he just lightsaber with one hand the entire time while Obi is doing everything he can, changing grip on the lightsaber to try to hold him back. And Vader, like, listen, Vader, we see in that whole third act, that last like 10 minutes, which was like
merciless.
so tense. But he also, like, he could have probably just killed Obi-Wan right there, but he wanted
and that's what I was,
play with him. And it's sick.
And that's what I was getting at, though. Like, in other words, they established that he's merciless. You know, the way it looks like he just killed a man and his son. He just terrorized this village trying to scare Obi-Wan out of the shadows.
Yeah.
And very clearly he could demolish Obi-Wan if he wanted right now.
Yeah.
But it's almost like he doesn't want to do it this way. Like, it's like, think about it. Imagine you've been waiting to get revenge on someone forever. And you finally get to them and they're just a shell of themselves. And like, this would almost be too easy. This wouldn't even be satisfying.
It's almost like pathetic, like,
it's like, oh, this is what I've been waiting to do. So like, you could tell like there's almost a part of him that like wants Kenobi to like, come on, where's the real you? Where's the one who beat me back on Mustafar?
Right.
So, I mean, there's so many cool angles to this, Brent.
Yeah,
I want to talk about the voice in general, though, too, because I think that there is some magical Hollywood trickery that I don't think they would even reveal on the making of show. Because look, James Earl Jones is amazing; he's a legend, but the man's in his 90s. And
he's credited, by the way. I think you might say that.
He's good at it, but what I'm going to say is like
in the episode as the voice.
Yeah, no, I know it's him.
Yeah.
I know it's him. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
But when he voiced him in 2017 or in 2016 for Rogue One, you could hear the age. You could hear he was a little softer. It didn't have the same power. So how is it now, 5 years, he sounds like the Vader of old, right?
Yeah, they did some
I feel like
stuff.
I think they did a thing. And listen, with modern technology, you could essentially make like a filter, like we were used to like video filters. I'm pretty sure Lucasfilm has made like a badass Vader filter so that they
Yeah.
could take James Earl Jones's voice and make it sound even sharper and more,
Yeah. Listen,
Vader-esque.
if they could do what they did with Luke's face and Luke's
Yes.
voice, they
Yes.
100%, 1,000% use that technology to sharpen that too.
Vocally. Yeah. Because to me,
Yeah.
it's night and day. If you go back to Rogue
Oh yeah.
One, I remember it was cool. Like, oh wow, they actually got him. But you could hear like, but maybe they should have got a
Yeah.
sound alike. But
Right.
this time around, they got him, and no, I have no regrets. That he sounds like Darth Vader. But again, I would not be surprised if it's all just like it's some computer program that takes the voice and
Yeah.
makes it sound however they really want it to sound.
So I'm curious too what you think. So we have like 3 episodes left.
Yes.
Obviously we saw that one shot of Hayden Christensen as Anakin in that like little hallucination that Obi-Wan had when he was looking off. And we've seen him like all scarred up and getting suited up quick. Do you think like we'll actually see Hayden as Darth Vader? Like maybe he's gonna have the helmet off and talk to him, or like, do you think we'll get
Yeah.
that? Because it's just like, are we just gonna see Hayden Christensen as Anakin in these like weird hallucination things, or like in maybe some kind of flashback that they do in a future episode? And we know it's him in the suit walking around, and he had like a physicality like helper to like make sure that he's matching the movement of Vader. Apparently they went like real hard into that, but like, do you think we'll get to like see him outside of the suit a little bit, all scarred up and maybe communicating in some way? Because my opinion, I want to see that. I would love if he takes the helmet off and they have like a fight like that or something. Could be really cool. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, see, I have a feeling that we haven't seen the last of him in like human form. That cloaked sort of illusion that Obi-Wan saw in the desert. I wouldn't be surprised if now that he's confronted him, Anakin maybe shows up in dreams or in other stuff where Obi-Wan is trying to reconcile what happened between the two of them.
Right.
In terms of seeing him in his current form, helmetless and talking, I'm not sure if we're going to get there in 3 episodes. I don't know.
It just feels like to me like you had Hayden Christensen and he is in the suit and Vader. Like, we should maybe get a little glimpse of him. Like, maybe show him, and not just like a quick little shot, but like maybe show him. Maybe a little bit we get him with the top of the helmet off or something, and him, confronting Obi-Wan.
We got that one crazy shot with the eyes and the face as episode 2.
Yeah, but he's in the tank. He's in the back to tank, whatever. So it's like, I don't know. The other thing I wanted to jump in real quick too. So if they were very specific on the scenes they showed in that recap, before we get into the first episode, and we get the shot of Yoda telling him that he's going to teach him how to communicate with Qui-Gon, with his master. And we've had a couple of shots of him trying to reach out and contact Qui-Gon to no avail. Are we going to see Liam? Are we going to see Liam?
Dude, we're going to see holographic Liam Neeson. I don't think
you do that, and I want it.
Yes. I don't think you do the tease unless you're ready to deliver on it.
Yeah.
So,
and he is coming back to voice Qui-Gon in the Tales of the Jedi animated series that's coming out. That was just officially announced. There's going to be Qui-Gon stories of Qui-Gon, I think, training. Did he train under Count Dooku? Or
I think he did.
I think he did. So I think that is one of the sections of the episodes they're going to actually go back and show younger Qui-Gon, and apparently Liam Neeson is cast as voicing him in the animated series. So I'm like, so they must have got him back for this too. It's like that only adds more credence to it.
Yeah, and for a Force ghost, which is a little blurry and obscured and glowy anyway, you could have 73-year-old Liam Neeson, whatever he is now. He'll look just like he should because
they can de-age him a little bit. He looks really good for his age too, actually. So
he does.
He might totally be fine. Put the goatee on, make the goatee a little thicker, get rid of those lines right here. You're all good.
For sure. And just in general too, I think the other thing I want to hit on in episode 3 that I really liked was Leia seeing perhaps her first real female role model for like woman fighting for good and who has to go undercover and has to do things to try to make things right.
Yeah.
That I forget the character's name, but the one who helps spring them out of
Yeah, I don't
being
recall the name either.
captured,
Yeah.
and then she basically leads her down that corridor and teaches her about how they've been helping, hide all these Jedi and get them into new lives and whatever. During those little scenes where Leia's asking her questions, you could tell like Leia's looking to her, and this is someone who's going to influence who Leia grows up to be.
Yeah.
Because back in Alderaan, she kind of has a sheltered life and everything is like, oh, you're a princess and you're this and you're that. But here on this adventure she's having with Obi-Wan, she's learning, important things
It
about how
inspires
the
her for
real
the
world
resistance,
works.
for the rebellion,
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Even
and
that thing too about like the Empire. I thought they were here to help us. And Obi-Wan's like, yeah, well, it used to be that way, but now we've sort of lost it. And everything's gone to hell. It sounds like today, doesn't it? It sounds like the government today. Like they were supposed to help us. So yeah, I seized on that thing where with the female role model, with the way she was watching her and piecing together the importance of this mission. You could see how like this sets up Leia to want to grow up to be a freedom fighter and fight against the Empire and at all costs.
Right.
So I love that, and I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. Do you have any more Kenobi thoughts you want to share, Brederson?
Well, I have one more thing. I want to circle back to we talked about the rumor now that Obi-Wan is not going to be just a limited series. It's going to maybe go on for more seasons. So, first of all, like we still have 3 episodes left, so it's so fucking early because I don't know what the story is ultimately, where it's actually going to leave off. The assumption was always that we were going to get to this Vader Obi-Wan showdown, and I don't think episode 3 was it. There is going to be another meeting of them for sure, like 1,000%, where they actually really go at it. Maybe Obi-Wan will get some of his Jedi groove back, and it'll be a real fight this time. But the way, just how dark and emotional this series has been so far, and I fully expect it to continue that. It just seems, if it is going to end with that, like, them meeting, having a battle, obviously we know they both live on, so like no one's going to die in this. And, Obi-Wan then goes back to his solitary life on Tatooine. It seems like weird almost to have a second season because it's like you're not going to rehash this again and have him run into Vader again because that's going to sour it. So it's like then it's just like somewhat just like some random, like, are they just going to like make up some rando adventure for him to go on while he's on Tatooine again?
I mean,
like,
there's always the possibility
I just don't see like, how is it going to hit the emotional heights that this series is going to hit? I feel like I don't know where you go from here. That's what
The only place I could see them possibly going is we wrap up the Vader stuff here and we leave the Vader stuff alone because going back to that well too many times is going to lead to diminishing returns. But what if the rumor of Darth Maul comes back and it's more he's the bad for season 2? Because remember, they did seem to set him up as being a presence in this world at this time. Because Solo, a Star Wars story, takes place during this same chunk of time between episodes 3 and 4, and it's like it's several years before episode 4 because he's still young Han Solo, but it's also several years after episode 3, so it's still somewhere in this general range, which means that Darth Maul and his robot legs are out there somewhere. The Darth Maul who's pulling strings with Emilia Clarke's character and all that stuff, he's out there. So it would be interesting.
Supposedly, I guess, not involved with Vader or the Emperor, so he's doing his own thing. Presumably, so he's not like chilling with other Sith. Like he's just got his own whatever going on.
And what would be interesting there is, as far as we know, there aren't further plans for Darth Maul, right? So this season, he confronts Vader, but he can't kill him because we still need Vader to be around. In season 2, he could kill Darth Maul because we don't really need him anymore. They could finally make that call and have him defeat that boogeyman if they do want to go back and bring him back. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know where they're going to go, but I guess the Darth Maul thing seems like like a viable path. You know what I mean?
The only other thing is like maybe maybe they could have Obi-Wan like hunt down like the rest of the, because like as far as we know by the original trilogy there are no more Inquisitors.
Yeah.
So maybe we have
Oh,
Obi-Wan
that's
go after
true.
all the Inquisitors, but I feel like that's still going to make you run into Vader. Like, how would Vader not be in on that? Because he like is
Yeah.
the direct control. Like, he's the head of the Inquisitors. I guess like that's kind of
Mhm.
his crew. So I just
Yeah.
don't like know, but it just
Maybe they
I
should
know
just end it after 6.
I kind of liked that it was going to be a limited series.
Yeah.
Like, not everything needs a fucking sequel and a continuation. Like, if they make this like really nice, tight knit 6-episode arc and it's
Yeah.
satisfying, and I halfway through I'm very satisfied. So if they can
Yeah.
continue that, maybe that's it. Like, that's cool. We're done. Like we don't need to
Yeah.
go back to the well again. The only other thing I could think of too is like we have the Ahsoka series coming out, which we know takes place after the original trilogy in that Mandalorian timeline where she's hunting down Grand
Yeah.
Admiral Thrawn and stuff. But she is around at this point too during
Mhm.
this Obi-Wan series because she trained
That's
under
true.
Anakin before he turned to Vader.
Yeah.
She also had a fight with Vader, I think, in the Clone Wars TV show. She battled him,
Mhm.
I think, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, I wonder
Hmm.
if like maybe
Yeah.
him, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka could join up and then like hunt the Inquisitors down in
Yeah.
in the second series. So like that could be a thing too. They could do.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. I guess we're just going to have to see. But we have 3 more episodes of Kenobi to get through. We'll be reacting to them each week,
That's right.
along with Superman and Lois episodes. And you know what? Today, The Boys returned on Amazon. And in fact, if you were paying attention to your Amazon app last night on June 2nd, one night early, they dropped The Boys 3 24 hours early. So that might be a show that we're also going to have to watch weekly and talk about because I love me some of The Boys.
Yeah, I love it. So I think we should definitely add that to the rotation.
Yeah, and with Superman and Lois seemingly done like in another 4 episodes and another 5 hiatuses, we're
Yeah.
going to need some stuff to talk about. So